local talent. So they would say if these 10 people that are being played all day are the people that are being played, then that's who I need to pay attention to. And it just so happened that they tended to favor what was, I guess, a more predominant mainstream sound at the time, or whoever had bigger pockets to get play on the radio.
Because I would say, like, from our perspective, we're coming back to Houston about
93.
We're coming back to Houston in 93. And shortly thereafter, because before when we were here, like, when our cousins would give us tapes of the Ghetto Boys.
Easy.
We got a couple of things. But I know when we did get here and we're starting to enter high school, Houston seemed real West Coast.
Yeah, Houston was
Like
West
everything,
Coast.
all of a sudden, I was like,
Spokes.
it was a very much like a heavy Tupac influence. Like, I was
Man.
like, yo, I'm like, it's like Tupac lives here almost.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of felt like. And so even when I remember when it was like the big East Coast, West Coast thing, I was like, well, I listen to so much East Coast music. But it was like everybody was like, oh, we listen to, I don't listen to Mobb Deep, I don't listen to Wu-Tang, I don't listen to none of that stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, so Houston is just West Coast. That's how it felt.
Sure.
Where did y'all go to before y'all came back to Houston?
Alaska.
We were in Alaska.
Oh.
We were completely separated from everything. So
Okay.
basically, whatever people would send us or give us, that's what. So that's why
And
I was
MTV.
Like, we was really on
Because
the
we was
outside.
we was into classic rock and George Michael at that time.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm still a big George Michael fan.
I was listening to Aerosmith when we went up to
Yeah.
Alaska. I remember the year Janie's Got a Gun
Yep.
was out, and then somebody
Groove
gave.
was in the
it might have been Reggie.
house.
It might have been Reggie that gave me the Ghetto Boys. I didn't know. And,
was
and
Jermaine.
gave Jermaine. Jermaine
Yeah.
gave me the Ghetto Boys tape. Jermaine gave me
Shout out Jermaine, by the way.
Jermaine gave me the Wu-Tang tape.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I took a Ghostface CD from them. I didn't know who Wu-Tang was. So when I first heard it, first of all, I thought Wu-Tang was one person, and I thought that one person was Ghostface, and I thought his name was Wu-Tang. So I'm jamming it the whole time. Then when I start discovering anything, I'm like, dog, who's this other dude that's always with them? I'm like, oh, okay, I was wrong. Wu-Tang is Raekwon and
Yeah.
Ghostface. They got a group. That's kind of cool. Then I keep listening to things. I'm like, yo, who are these 7 other people in the video? Like, so yeah, from our perspective, Houston was. I'm with you on that, where it's like impressionable. Impressionable is the nice way to say it.
Well, Houston was kind of in a unique position, and I'll explain why in a moment. Now, one thing about in the early 90s especially, a lot of the southern states, for whatever reason, strongly favored West Coast music.
They really did.
Yeah, and I mean from Atlanta all the way over across the board
Jermaine
to
Dupri.
California. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of them favored West Coast music. So a lot of the sound that you heard, especially from southern artists at the time, was heavily influenced by West Coast music. Houston at the time had Southwest Distribution, which was the largest independent distributor of music in the country. So Houston itself, the Houston market itself, actually moved more units of music than any other market in the country. So there was more music bought and sold here in Houston than in any other market in the country. Because of that, we were fortunate that we did receive a lot of music from a lot of different places. So we received East Coast music in equal supply to West Coast music and so forth, like a ton of it. So, and we were fortunate because at the same time, again, if you go back to like 93, we're also listening to, we're listening to Biggie. Biggie's coming out around then. Wu-Tang drops in 93. Got a funny story about Wu-Tang.
We'd like to hear it.
Okay. But we have this convergence of music from all different places because they're all sending their music to this very large independent distributor in Houston, and we're getting the benefit of all of it. So we were kind of unique in that sense. But then again, when the radio play shifted and they were more incented to play quote unquote popular music,
We shifted with them.
we shifted right with them. So even now, a lot of times when, there's the thing that if you talk to a lot of Houston-based talent, they'll tell you, Houston people won't really jump on your shit until you blow up somewhere else. And I know everybody in every market says that, but it's especially true for Houston.
Yeah.
You don't really blow up in Houston until you blow up somewhere else. Wu-Tang. So back in 1993,
I love this.
we were working with a gentleman by the name of Will Strickland, who at the time was the radio DJ for K-True, the Rice University radio station. He was there Saturday. I forgot the name of the show. Came on Saturday nights. We listened to it every week. But Will was also pretty. He was also pretty involved in working with different labels because the Rice radio, college radio back then was very big in terms of breaking artists, and labels were incented to keep relationships with college DJs, and Will was very influential in that sense. I remember early in 1993, he kept telling us about this group that was coming out later this year called Wu-Tang. I'm like, that's a corny name. What does that even mean? It's like, it's a Wu-Tang Clan. You know, a lot of what they talk about, you know, is based on kind of like on martial arts stuff, blah, blah, blah. You know, they're really into like Shaw Brothers stuff, martial arts flicks. And we're like, the shit just sounds corny, but whatever. And he was like, promise me. He was like, believe me, I promise you, these guys are going to be big one day. We're like, okay. December 12th, 1993, Wu-Tang came to town for the first time. We were recording some music for an EP at the New Style Record Studio that we were not signed to. We did not sign.
Not signed to New Style, just recording up there.
Didn't sign.
Just recording there.
There must be a lawyer that's just waiting.
Nah, they didn't. They couldn't afford lawyers. They were spending too much on coke. But
Wow.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
What we're talking about.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Allegedly. The studio was next door to where 97.9 was at the time. So a lot of times when talent came to 97.9, they didn't have like a real waiting room at the time, so they would use New Style Studio as their green room, kind of, sort of.
Ah, okay.
So we were in there recording. DJ Cosmos was doing some cuts for us on the song. And while we were in there, this group of Negroes walks in. And we're like, okay, what's going on? And Will walks in with him. He's like, yo, wanted to introduce y'all to the Wu-Tang Clan. They just had a show last night at Club Northside. It's like, oh, okay. So these are the guys that you were talking about. And we kind of sizing them up, like, all right, let's see y'all. It was the first time, and amazingly, all of them were there.
Amazing, yes.
All 8 of them. It was only I want to say that was the only time I've seen all 8 of them. I don't count Master Killer. That's the only time I've seen.
Wow, because I was like 9, but he does spoken word.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Master Killer was not there, but the necessary 8, the essential 8 were there.
Damn.
And I didn't recognize Ghost Killer because up until that point, I'd only seen him like with the stocking mask on his face.
Yeah.
ODB was ODB. He walked in with an old E bottle, 3/4 empty, and he handed it to me. He said, "Yo, I need you to look out and hide this for a nigga real quick." I was like, "Okay," and I just set it on the floor because I was like, "I don't know why you just gave me this mostly empty bottle." And they all kind of gathered around. They would just kind of listen to the music that we were working on, and they at least pretended to be into it. I don't know if they, how rap niggas, they just don't really like to show that they like something. So they're just like, yeah, I see what y'all doing. I see what y'all doing, young blood. I'm like, we're the same age as you. The RZA went into another room that we used to call the tape room, where they had a bunch of demo tapes that labels would send for promotion. I shouldn't say demo, but promotional tapes. And he was digging through the drawer that we usually stole tapes out of. So I'm like, man, still over here going through our drawer, stealing the tapes that we're trying to steal. And RZA was pocketing those tapes. And so me and my boy Mike went in. It's like, man, we want to ask you a real serious question, dude. Because the rumors at the time was that there were so many people in Wu-Tang that we just never would know how many were in Wu-Tang. We were like, how many, like for real, how many people in Wu-Tang? And the RZA, with a straight look on his face, goes, yo, we deep as the Atlantic Ocean, kid.
That sounds like a RZA answer.
And we just, I'm from Houston, man.
That sounds like a RZA answer.
No, we were like, no, seriously. He was like,
just give me a number.
He's like, yeah. That's how deep it is. And we're like, okay, so we're not going to fuck with you then.
Okay.
We're going to leave you in here to steal tapes. Go around the corner to see Method Man. His hand is bandaged, heavily bandaged. And, of course, we're going to be like, so what happened to you? Well, we had a show last night here, and there was an altercation at the concert, and I cut my hand on some glass. Have y'all ever heard about the infamous Wu-Tang incident?
No.
Northside?
Would you please tell us about this?
On December 11th, 1993. So, one thing about Houston has always been a very prideful city, and y'all just stop me if I'm talking too much. Houston has
It's a
been
podcast.
Talk
Talk all
podcast.
you
That's
want.
what we're here
Yes, talk all you want.
for. You're going to tell this story, but then we got to get back into K-Otix, though.
Yeah. Okay.
And tell your story, but I want to hear this one.
Okay. So this is the infamous Club Northside story. So Houston is a very prideful city. Don't come to our city talking shit about Houston or about us, because we will. We will fuck you up.
True.
Be prideful.
So Wu-Tang comes, and remember, this is something new. People aren't used to this kind of shit. They aren't used to a bunch of grown men coming out talking about kung fu styles and all this and wushu. They're just not used to it yet. Like we got to ease into it. And the other thing about Houston audiences that I learned is that if you're a new artist, especially, the crowd may not react to you immediately, but a lot of times they are listening. So they might not just really be like vibing hard, but they're listening to you. So when Wu-Tang shows up, they're doing their thing, and one of the members on stage starts berating the crowd. Like, y'all, if y'all not fucking with, this Wu-Tang shit, y'all niggas is corny, y'all niggas is whack. And, people in Houston like, oh, you say I'm what now?
I can think of at least 4 people who
Yeah.
said that in Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're like, fuck you, nigga. Oh, fuck us, yo. Yo, fuck this city, yo. Like they start like cursing out Houston.
We came here to see you.
So, so niggas start throwing bottles. And bottles start hitting the stage, and Method Man happens to catch a broken bottle to the hand. And then one of the members of Wu-Tang starts talking about, we gonna come and we gonna pull out the strap. Y'all niggas want to act like this. And somebody was like, oh, word? Let me show you what I got right here.
This is Texas.
Yeah.
So Wu-Tang exited the stage, and they ran back to their little tour van. And as they were leaving, somebody left them with a couple parting gifts.
Oh, wow.
In the van itself. Fired a couple shots. So that was Wu-Tang's first experience.
That's Wu-Tang's
Here in
first
Houston.
experience.
Yeah, and they had to take Method Man to Ben Top to get his hand bandaged up. So he got the full Houston experience by going to Ben Top.
I was about to say,
Went to Ben Top. Went to Ben Top.
His hand's not going to work the same. It's
Now,
crazy.
you were saying, like, okay, things that I learned about Houston. You're learning some of these things about performances and how Houston was responding, being a performer.
Right.
In terms of K-Otix. So, K-Otix, like, are you guys, when you guys first decide now, first of all, you're not signed.
No.
Still not signed.
Still
So,
not.
What are you guys doing then? Are you're just recording? What's the plan here? We're just like, we're gonna record, we're gonna release an album, but we're not signing to y'all.
We made a conscious decision at the time. And now, mind you, we are from 92 to 97. Because 97 was when we officially released our first project, so to speak. We did make a conscious decision in the beginning to spend at least a couple of years really just working on our music and on our performance and working on, because we're very competitive in terms of if we see something out there that we want to compare ourselves to, like if it's like A Tribe Called Quest or De La Soul, we're telling ourselves we don't want to put anything out until we feel like it's at least on that level, quality and presentation wise. So we spent the first few years really we did a lot of demos, a lot of recording and re-recording, performing a lot locally, because for us, live shows were the meat and potatoes of what makes you an artist, I believe. What happens when you actually get out there in front of people.
Yeah.
So, and I remember the first couple of shows that we did, we have a couple of people who were close in our circle who gave us some very honest feedback on it. And, we were like, we definitely got to get better at this part of it. And you see it nowadays. Like you see artists that sound good. They sound good in the ears, but when you see them on stage, you're just kind of like.
That's the running thing that's going on now, where you're talking about some of the, and we're not gonna get into it, but the newer R&B cats, where it's like, yeah, you wrote good and you got great music and everything, but performing on stage is different.
And I think that drives who you are home more than anything else. The other thing was, at the time, there was this whole debate about, what type of musical platform you perform over. Do you perform using DATs or do you use wax for more of a live experience? There were people at the time who were, even back then, who were performing over their own vocals. And our whole thing was, we were like, we will never do that.
Okay.
Never do that. And I know a lot of people, I think people do it today more than they've ever done it.
Oh, yeah.
Just performing on top of the vocals.
Oh, yes,
and
absolutely.
We want to be so good that we don't have to worry about that, because we want to be ourselves, and we don't want to give you the exact same experience that you get on the record itself. So we spent 5 years just doing music, not worrying about getting signed, not worried about doing that, because our first release we wanted to do independently regardless. We wanted to press up our own vinyl, put everything together, sell it ourselves, just to get that full experience of how the process works.
So that was y'all's goal initially, to be independent, at least on that first release.
Yes.
Okay.
Now for the years after that, so from around 97 through 2000, we did play the market to see what interest there was in us getting signed, and we did get approached by a few labels, Elektra, Mercury, Atlantic, East West. Somebody said Def Jam. I still don't believe it. And a few more. Like we did have meetings with labels. The problem was, even at the time, we're smart cats. We know how to read. We would read the contracts, and even if we had lawyers, we would still read the contracts. And even if you don't know all the legalese, there are just certain things in there that just don't rub the right way.
Yeah.
All of them at the time, all of them had the clause where basically they would have options for your music for like 10 albums. So you would start off with one album, and it was up to their discretion. If they felt like they wanted to hold you over for another album, they would hold you over for another one, and another one, and another one, all the way up to 10.
All the way to 10, okay.
And all of them had that. And it was like, no, because if we just want to do this one and don't really want to fuck with y'all after that, we want to have the ability to walk away, or reduce that number to 2 or 3 or something like that. Because most music careers aren't coming anywhere to close to 10 albums. So you're basically saying, I want you for a lifetime. I want you beholden to me past your usefulness.
Yeah.
This is basically what De La Soul is going through right now with Tommy Boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the exact same scenario that De La Soul is dealing with Tommy Boy right now. So we were like, no, that's not really favorable to us. And around this time, so around 97, 98, we have enough knowledge of what other artists are already dealing with. Jive was another label. And I remember speaking with people close to A Tribe Called Quest, who's my favorite group of all time. The Low End Theory was my favorite album. And I'm thinking, like, that album blew up. That album put them on the map. And I know Tribe has broken down the numbers in the documentary since, but back then, learning the real numbers behind what they were getting from an album that changed my fucking life, I was like, no.
Yeah, this can't be life.
No, I was like, no, we're not doing that. Like, shit, we made more money pressing up 1,500 copies of an EP ourselves. So, like, we're just going to keep doing it until we sign.
Okay, well, wait.
Okay.
Until, you know what, before we get into the intel, and we're gonna get to the intel, let's play at least some music. Let's play a video from y'all. Let's play, you know what, I'll let you pick, because we got The Pen, Lonely Piano, Rare Breed, and Legendary.
Let's do Rare Breed.
Let's do Rare Breed.
That video was fun.
Because you guys, I'm like, yeah, I got the videos, I got everything going, and that's what we really want to get into is like what goes on after that point.
Okay.
Just pulling up Rare Breed now.
No doubt about it. You shouldn't do without it. It'll make you
That's the
mad
intro.
when you feel
We'll rock with that.
just wait and see.
Picture a solitary figure approaching the spotlight and a mic stand. Mic tight in his right hand, thinking of something to say that might incite fans.